Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Thursday, April the 10th. Ian Cameron is with you, and Alex is off today. As you guys know, he'll be back tomorrow. He'll be off Saturday as well. Matt Robinson tied up with work, so we brought Mikey in. He's off today, joining us here for the show. We were scheduled to have our old friend, Brett McLean, with us, and he got called into a meeting. He will try to join us later, and if not, he'll be on with us tomorrow. So that's where we stand. But for now, it's Mikey and yours truly on this Thursday, ready to break down the Thursday card. And it is a BetCast Thursday. We are excited about it. Of course, we are on once again with another Patreon exclusive live BetCast coming your way tonight, Thursday, April 10th. There you see it, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So to be part of the BetCast, either to watch it or join us on the stream, make sure you get on board. $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. Looking forward to another Patreon exclusive live BetCast tonight as we get closer and closer to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So again, make sure that you join us on the BetCast tonight. Looking forward to it. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And the only way to join us is become a Patreon member. So $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys for that. Last night, Mikey, very interesting card, even though it was a limited slate as it usually is on Wednesday as far as number of games. But boy, oh boy, there were some crazy games last night and some very entertaining games last night in the NHL. We'll start in Madison Square Garden with the Flyers and the Rangers. That was Sam Rosen and John Davidson. That was pretty much the highlight of the game, was that they were reunited for one last broadcast together before Sam Rosen retired at the end of the year, and it was like it was like old times again. And for nostalgia folks like me, I very much enjoyed that. It was great to see Sam and JD back together again in the booth, and it was great to cash a lot of bets in that game as well. That was the best game of the night for me from a betting standpoint. Flyers money line, Flyers team total over. We didn't get the over by factor because the first period stayed under, but flew over the total in the end, 8-5. Pretty shocking, 8-5, and yet it actually did stay under in the first period. But certainly it flew over for the full game. So very, very good result overall. It was a great price with the Flyers. When I bet it, it was plus 174. So to be able to take that price was just outstanding. And like I said, the Rangers defensively, more of the same issues. They've given up 5 or more in a lot of recent games, and everybody got involved. Tyson Forster ended up with the hat trick for the Flyers. Garnett Hathaway gets on the board. Jacob Pelletier, who they got in the Calgary deal, which sent Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee to Calgary. They got Pelletier the other way. He gets on the board. Couturier, Tippett, Sanheim from the blue line. So it was everyone getting on board. And yeah, the Rangers scored a little bit as well, but eventually the Flyers just kept piling it on, and they end up getting an 8-5 win over this hapless New York Rangers team, which is just waiting for this, great, absolutely waiting for that, not great, but absolutely not great at all, waiting for this horrible season to just come to an end, mercifully, an 8-5 loss. And they're in action tonight, the Rangers, against the New York Islanders in another rendition of the Battle of New York. So we'll see how that one goes. Yes, every game went over the total. Yesterday, we had the over in that Ranger game. We had the first period over with the Leafs and the Lightning. What a game this was. This was probably the most – every game actually was entertaining in some form, but this game was maybe the best game because of how well it was played by both teams, and it was back and forth, that kind of game. And plus, you got a little bit of everything. You got some great goals. You got great goaltending. But Toronto gets a 4-3 win in overtime against Tampa Bay, a huge 2 points for them to get them one step closer to obviously winning the Atlantic Division. They jumped on Tampa Bay early for 2 goals in the first 4 minutes, a start that John Cooper after the game called embarrassing for his Tampa Bay Lightning, the way they started that game. Marner and Nyes got on the board quickly. Tampa Bay, as you knew, would respond. They tied it. Matthew Nyes gets the power play goal to give the Leafs the lead in the third. Victor Hedman on a power play goal responds. And again, lots of damage being done on the power play again by Tampa Bay. There's still some concerns I have that they don't always do enough at 5-on-5, especially against good teams. And again, 2 power play goals for them last night. And then the overtime was sensational. I mean, end-to-end action, back and forth. And Matthew Nyes, hungry Nyes. What can you say about him last night? And what can you say about him overall? I mean, a hat trick last night. He's just his compete level is off the charts. His motor is off the charts. He's winning puck battles. He's getting in on the forecheck. He's, throwing his weight around now with his frame. He's finally figured out, hey, I'm a big fucking guy. Let's maybe be physical, play with physicality. And he's certainly been doing that. And what a night for him. What a season for him. He gets the hat trick in Toronto, a huge, huge victory to move them closer to clinching the Atlantic Division. I don't know what was going on and by the way, the draw cashed in that game, which is a good segue too. Look what I've got on today. I'll just stand up for a second. You see it. The draw shirt. Get to that Ice Guys store. iceguys.myspreadshop.com. I'm telling you what, there it is. It's very nice. Very nice design. And like I said, it's a good day to break that shirt out here on the show with cashing that Leafs Lightning draw yesterday. Not to mention, there was another game that went to overtime, and it was this game. There are 3 games that went to overtime last night, so it's a really good day to break out the draw season shirt here on the Ice Guys. But Minnesota San Jose was absolutely crazy. 8-7, the final score in favor of the Minnesota Wild. This is what I feared with this game, with taking San Jose team total under. Would Minnesota not make this easy on themselves? They didn't. They did have 44 shots, but they gave up 31. It was not a goaltending clinic from either Georgiev or Fleury, but there were a couple of those goals that were a little bit fluky. That being said, it was not a defensive juggernaut by either of these teams. I'm not shocked San Jose is capable of giving up 8, but it is kind of alarming to see Minnesota in a game they really wanted to give up 7 goals to the San Jose Sharks. But in the end, 8-7 Minnesota. And how about the returnees to the lineup from injury? Kirill Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson, 6 goals. 6 of the 8 goals were scored by one of those 2 players for the Minnesota Wild. So welcome back to the lineup. Indeed, they're happy to have them. And they needed them last night. And a huge 2 points for Minnesota when they were trailing multiple times in that game initially against San Jose. And then you saw what happened to Calgary, which put the pressure on Calgary with Minnesota winning. And it was looking good for Calgary. They got the first goal after Zegras tied it. Sharon Govich and Coronado with back-to-back goals in 2 minutes to give Calgary a 3-1 lead with under 5 minutes left in the third period. But for Calgary, 8 seconds of just the brains went out the window for 8 seconds. Bad coverage, missed assignments, breakdowns on the 3-2 goal by Frank Vetrano. And then what happened after that face-off and after the 3-2 goal? Clean lost draw, nobody paying attention, odd man rush somehow. How do you give up an odd man rush off a face-off at center ice? And in a game like that where you need it badly, Calgary somehow allowed that. 2-on-1. Now, would I want Dustin Wolf? We love the kid. Would I have wanted him to stop that Cutter Gauthier shot that tied the game? Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's the best goal he's given up. But at the end of the day, you cannot lose a draw clean, and you can't let your defense and your back-checking forwards get beaten like that for an odd man rush right off a damn face-off. Horrible stuff by Calgary. Just, they just fell asleep. They just lapsed defensively for 8 seconds, and it came back to bite them. A 3-1 lead turns into a 3-3 tie. They lose in overtime. Gauthier scores the overtime goal as well, and Anaheim wins 4-3. Brutal loss for Calgary. Extremely costly loss for Calgary, because now they're in a spot where they've got to beat Minnesota Friday in regulation and then probably run the table and hope Minnesota doesn't do much after that. So it's definitely making the pathway for Calgary to make the playoffs and overtake Minnesota much narrower. That is for sure. A loss they couldn't afford. It's an uphill battle now for the Calgary Flames. And then St. Louis and Edmonton, 4-3 Oilers get the win. I still liked St. Louis even after Connor McDavid was announced in, because we knew there were still so many other players out The lineup: Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, Ekholm on the blue line. You go on down the list, but he did make a difference. I mean, a multi-point game in his return to the lineup, and they got the job. I probably wouldn't have made I still would have taken St. Louis. I don't know if they would have been my best bet on the show if I knew at the time McDavid was going to play. We didn't know until about 2 hours before puck drop. But credit to Edmonton. Still short. I mean, that McDavid being back is obviously big, but they were still very short-handed, and they found a way to win. And the Blues now, after that 12-game win streak, now 2 in a row, they drop to the Oilers and the Jets in back-to-back games. That was a very contentious game, too. I liked it. That game was played with a lot of intensity. Pretty impressive considering Edmonton's not got a lot to play for. St. Louis has put themselves in a good spot. Lots of intensity. Jordan Binnington had another snap show moment, kind of losing it, punching Corey Perry in the back of the head and then jumping on him right after that. So that's what you get from Binnington. If you get under his skin, it's like just, something snaps. And we kind of saw that from him last night in that game. Mikey, I'll tell you what, for a short, small, lesser games Wednesday card, it sure was entertaining.
Yeah, it really was. Speaking of Toronto, I mean, I don't think they're one of the teams in the NHL that really wants to lock in home ice, because you're going to face Ottawa or Montreal, and you don't want to go to the Bell Center, and you don't want to go to Ottawa on the road. I just feel like Toronto, they feel more comfortable starting the postseason on home ice. And that's just the effort that I saw with them yesterday. They want nothing to do with Tampa trying to chase them. That was a huge, huge, huge win for them. It's just polar opposite of Florida, where Florida, I don't think they care where they end up. If the game's in Florida, if the game's in Tampa, if the game's in Germany, they're so confident with their team and their product on the ice. They don't care. But that game last night with Toronto showed me they want nothing to do with heading into Ottawa or Montreal. Both of those clubs who haven't seen playoff hockey in some time, and those crowds, they want nothing to do with this. So that was a big Leafs win. They're planning the parade already if you look at the media and the fan base. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in the postseason. Rangers are going to Rangers. I mean, after the first period, I'm like, Flyers looked okay, but I wasn't expecting them. I wasn't expecting a goal output in the final 2 periods with Flyers. That was crazy. Sharks, Wild, just a back and forth beer league game. I mean, Eriksson, Ek, and Kaprizov, welcome back after injuries.
Yeah,
Jesus,
no kidding.
I mean, that was insane. The Oilers game kind of pissed me off a little bit because I think I screenshotted 3 or 4 different accounts and legit following saying, no Connor, no Connor, no Connor. And then all of a sudden, I noticed the movement late, and I'm like, why did the Oilers jump to a little bit of a heavier favorite and Connor's playing? That tells you, I mean, if he wanted to come back in that game, they're trying everything in their power, I think, in my opinion, to try and catch LA and swap that home ice advantage. I just don't see any other reason why Connor late in the game, late before pregame, decided to come in, but that's just my guess.
Well, they did want to bring him back for a game or 2 before the end of the regular season, but we did not think it was going to be last night. That's right. The thing. Yeah.
And not so last minute after all these accounts said he's not playing. Right. I mean, I was a little bit surprised, but at the end of the day, St. Louis had a chance. We got a decent price on them. So, I mean, it is what it is.
No doubt. And like I said, I was still going to be on St. Louis, even if McDavid played, if I had heard McDavid play. Like, I didn't get off the Blues, but I don't know if I would have made it best bet on the show had I known at the time he was going to play. It probably would have been a bet, but not a best bet. But it is what it is. Not much you can do. Credit to the Oilers, though. I think they deserve credit as far as their performance last night. All right, we've got a 10-game slate. It is a BetCast Thursday night, Patreon-exclusive BetCast. We hope you're able to join us at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time tonight. And we've got, like I said, another night where there's definitely some games with some playoff implications. We will begin with the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is one of the games where there are no playoff implications. Well, Columbus is not officially eliminated, but for all intents and purposes, they pretty much are. Columbus minus 135, home favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game. If you look at the 2 teams, you've got, obviously first of all, from a side perspective, Buffalo's a one-way team right now for me. Bet on them or pass with the way they've been playing, obviously. They've been playing some excellent hockey. There's no chance I'm fading them right now. But one thing that does concern me, and I mentioned this earlier when I was on with Jimmy the Bag on his show, Columbus showed some gut, some heart, some pride, some, hey, you know what? Probably not going to make the playoffs now, but we got shut out in back-to-back games on the road by the Leafs and the Senators. Got another crack at Ottawa the other night. I did see some passion out of them, a pretty good game overall. And we have to remember this home ice all season for them has been very strong. They've been good all year at Nationwide Arena. They're off the 5-2 win against the Ottawa Senators the other night. They're 8 points back with a game in hand on Montreal, but the problem is they lose all the tiebreakers. I mean, they lose the regulation wins tiebreaker, they lose the regulation and overtime wins tiebreaker, which means they're essentially 9 points back of Montreal because they got to finish 1 point ahead of Montreal to get into the playoffs. So it's not happening for Columbus, but I did see life. I did see the switch get flipped on. They played better against Ottawa the other night. So I don't know if I'm running to bet Buffalo here, but I'm sure as hell not fading them and laying a price against them with the way they've played of late. 5 straight wins, 8-1, this Buffalo Sabres team in their last 9 games. By the way, some changes. Merzlikins was supposed to start. He is no longer starting in this game due to an undisclosed injury. So Daniil Tarasov is projected to get the start. He has not been confirmed yet, but all likelihood is Daniil Tarasov will be in net here for Columbus. James Reimer is projected for the Buffalo Sabres. He's obviously been getting most of the starts lately, and he's been playing well. But if it is James Reimer tonight, he's coming off a shutout against Carolina. And I don't love the marginal journeyman goaltender off a shutout. I don't. I've seen this many a time in my life watching hockey. When the journeyman goaltender, he's been playing well, Reimer, comes off a game like that, and I've been seeing it. He's getting some hype and some credit from the radio people and the media in Buffalo. Mike Harrington wrote an article saying what a nice resurgence here for James Reimer after that big shutout against Carolina the other night. Sometimes when you get all that happening, it's like wham, the rug comes out from under in the next game, and I'm worried about that here for James Reimer tonight, that coming off the big shutout, he's not as sharp tonight. Not to mention, too, and that's why, anyway, after saying all that, no side for me in this game, but I'm on the over by Fecta. Over 1.5 first period, over 6.5 full game. Buffalo, last 4 road games, 4 straight overs at Winnipeg, Philly, Washington, Ottawa. 4 straight overs. You know what's funny about the Sabres? They've been pretty good defensively at home lately. Not so much on the road. They've been scoring everywhere. They've been scoring at home. They've been scoring on the road. But defensively on the road, they haven't been great. They've been better at defensively lately at home, which is why some of the home games, believe it or not, for the Sabres have gone under of late. But on the road, they've been an over machine. 4 straight overs for Buffalo on the road. And then, of course, with Columbus, they got shut out on the road over the weekend by Ottawa and Toronto. And then in the road game before that, also at Ottawa, they only scored 2 goals. That stayed under. But at home, they're on a 4-game over streak on home ice. Vancouver, Nashville, Colorado games, and then the Ottawa game the other night. They all went over the total. So Buffalo's been trending over on the road. Columbus has been trending over at home. So I think it correlates here to liking the over by Fecta here in this game. Mikey, what do you think here? Buffalo, Columbus.
Yeah, like you said, Buffalo's playing good hockey, 5-game winning streak, 8-1 last 9. You pretty much took the words out of my mouth with how Buffalo's playing at home compared to the road. They're not allowing a lot of goals in the month of April, 1.75 overall, road and home. But the majority of those games were at home. Once they hit the road, like you said, you'll notice the games tend to go over, especially against the Eastern Conference. Over-under in Buffalo road games against the East, 14-7-1. I feel like at this price, it's Buffalo or pass with a shot at the over live, but I don't feel comfortable at the moment taking the over 6.5 at $1.15 or $1.20. Hopefully we'll get a chance to bet it live. But also, like you said with Reimer, you look at his road starts. I mean, he had one decent one this month, but then it's 3-4 goals almost every road start for Reimer. So I think the goals will come. I'm just hoping for a chance to bet it live and just get that down to a 6 or a 5.5. So nothing officially yet.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just a very small pregame position, very small on Buffalo, but But I do think there's a chance, at least, Columbus does get the lead in the first period or early in the game. And we can always add to, with the betcast tonight, can always get a Buffalo at a better price if that ends up being something that becomes available here tonight in this game. As far as props go for this game, Sabres and Blue Jackets, we'll just take a look here. And all right, here we go. Sabres and Jackets. Tage Thompson's been on a roll, 5-game goal streak for him. Alex Tuch, it's a lot of the same people we've talked about. Tuch, Thompson, Paterka, Jack Quinn for Buffalo, Ryan McLeod if you want to. I would say Adam Fantilli, Werenski at home's worth a look. Sean Monahan's actually played pretty solid these last couple of games, so definitely some good options here if you're going to look toward the goal prop market. Definitely multiplayers on both sides of this matchup that are in pretty good form. I still think Benson's got value too, playing with Kulik and Thompson on the top line, but yet to click there, I guess you could say. And don't sleep on the captain either. We've talked about Boone Jenner, how well he's played lately for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yeah, Nick Elvento mentioning Danforth. Yes, down on the fourth line, but I'll tell you what, Danforth with a nice game, goal, and an assist against Ottawa the other night. So we'll see if he can continue that production. All right, Detroit and Florida. We've got Florida minus 200 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this one. So Florida's not a team I'm interested in, and certainly not at this price, minus 200. No chance. The question you have to ask yourself is, can you take Detroit in this game? Well, Florida lost in Detroit when they were sitting everybody on Sunday at Little Caesars Arena. So it is a short turnaround revenge spot. Florida did bounce back. They beat Toronto the other night at home. Big win there. Again, I don't think this team truly is going balls to the wall to finish ahead of Tampa for home ice advantage, but I certainly think they wouldn't mind finishing ahead of Tampa Bay at the very least for second in the Atlantic to get home ice in a potential battle of Florida. Bobrovsky is confirmed in net. Now, here's the latest. We've got another change in the lineup here. Bennett is out. We're not going to see Sam Bennett the rest of the regular season. Paul Maurice said that before the Toronto game. Ekblad is still out, although he's close. Kulikov's still out. Carter Verhaeghe, who played the other night, is out. But they still have, Barkov, Reinhart, Forsling. Those are the three guys they got back against Toronto the other night, and they are all playing, and they are all in the lineup tonight for the Panthers. Verhaeghe's the one that is not going to play. Here's the problem with trusting. I don't want Florida, but here's the problem with trusting Detroit. It felt like a season ender. It felt like a dream crusher in Montreal the other night. It really did. I mean, you're out shooting Montreal, Mikey, 22-5. You're up 1-0 in that game. Everything's going your way, and you still can't close the deal, and you still lose that game in regulation time to boot. So you get zip, zilch, nada, nothing from that game, the Detroit Red Wings. How is that not a kick in the teeth? How is that not a kick in the gut for the Detroit Red Wings, that kind of a result, when you're already up against it? And now you're almost in a spot where you're same thing as Columbus. Yeah, they're mathematically alive. They've got 79, 8 back with a game in hand, but they're also trailing in all the key categories, regulation wins and all that to Montreal. So they pretty much are going to have to finish ahead more than likely of Montreal. It's pretty much slim and none for Detroit as well, their playoff hopes. And a loss like that, head-to-head against Montreal, to the team they have to catch, I don't trust them to get off the mat here, Detroit. I don't. So that leaves me off this game pregame. Totally. Nothing on the side, nothing on the total. I'm just going to – this is definitely a good night for a betcast with this game, Mikey. Let's see. Maybe if Detroit shows me a little something early, like they're in on the forecheck, they're hemming Florida, and they're in and they're getting some quality looks, and Florida's maybe a little dopey. Maybe we'll jump on Detroit first goal or something like that. But I need to see it from Detroit before I believe it, because to me that's a game that ended their season, killed their playoff hopes the other night against Montreal, and I don't trust their psyche and mentality to be there tonight. I'll have to see it before I believe it. What do you think here, Mikey? Detroit, Florida.
Yeah, it did seem like a soul crusher the other day against Montreal. I still think they have enough veteran leadership on that team, and with McLennan behind the bench, I mean, I just don't see them just totally giving up, and it's a division game. But like you said, you have to see it to believe it. It's just tough figuring out where Florida's going to be. Look at their third defensive pairing with Megna and Valenskis. if that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered it. Apologies, but
Yeah,
that's
Balinskis has been in the lineup all year, but Megna's the new guy. Yeah,
right.
that's obviously because of who's out. Yeah.
Looking a little thin. We'll see if anyone else is out for Florida. I doubt it. I feel like they would have already made that announcement, but you just can't lay this price on Florida. It is Detroit or pass for me, because I think, in my opinion, I think health is of most importance right now for Florida. Yes, they can chase down the second, but I think you'll need a full gas tank to do the battle against Tampa coming up. It's going to be Tampa, Florida. Let's be serious, for the most part. So you need a full tank of gas. I just think health is of most important. So I mean, at plus 170, I think you got to take a shot with Detroit. I haven't locked in anything, but that's the way I would go. It's either Detroit or pass for me.
Yeah, for me, it's just I need to see, for sure, I need to see what Detroit's looking like coming out of the chute here. I need to see that they're skating. I got to see that they're interested, they're locked, they're dialed in, that they're bringing good effort, that they haven't checked out. Because if there's ever a spot where you worry they do check out, it's suffering the kind of loss they did, obviously, the other night against Montreal, which essentially ended their season, in my opinion. So that's why it's a great BetCast game. We'll wait to get involved potentially with this game during the BetCast tonight. 3-game point streak for Patrick Kane. 2-game point streak, actually, for Anton Lundell here for Florida. So there's a one that's a little bit down the board a little bit. Luostarinen and Forsling as well scored the other night. Larkin, that's one guy I think will play, be ready to play, the captain of the Red Wings. So Dylan Larkin possibly. Marco Kasper, the friendly betting ghost, just because how many times have we cashed with him this year at great prices? Marco Kasper. So maybe a little shot with him, maybe to find the back of the net too. Chicago and Boston. Well, I guess how do we sell this game? Original 6? Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, original 6. There you go. There's a reason to watch. Maybe not. Boston minus 180, home favorite. Boston minus 180. What? 6 the total here in this game. That being said, I don't know if I want to bet Chicago with Soderblom, or as Alex refers to him, Soderbum, when he's not playing well. Because keep in mind, Chicago, with all this good, solid play, competitive play that they've had in some of these recent games, all of that was Spencer Knight, starting in net. Now you're going to Arvid Soderblom, who, he was going really well for a bit, but it hasn't been as good from him the last few times that we have seen him. He gave up 5 to Utah, 4 to St. Louis, 6 to Vancouver. Yeah, back to the old Arvid Soderblom. So Boston should be able to score. Like, we just saw 7 goals against New Jersey the other night. Boston should be able to score some. This is another over by Fecta. Who's playing defense, really? You got to ask yourself that. Who the hell is playing defense in this game? No, neither team's going anywhere. No team's going to be selling out to block shots. No team's going to be. You want to see defense. You saw certain instances last night in a bunch of those games where Toronto, even though that game did go over the total, Toronto was blocking shots left and right. You're not going to see any of these teams doing that here tonight. So I'm on over 1.5 first period. Don't look now. Boston's heating up in the first period overs again. I think it's 4-1 in their last 5 games for first period over for the Boston Bruins. And I like the full game over. I got 5.5 at DraftKings. Again, this is becoming a common thing where DraftKings has got the 5.5 and everyone else has 6. But DraftKings has 5.5 minus 130 for this full game total. So that's where I bet it with Chicago, Boston. I would certainly only take Chicago at this price, but I can't say I'm running to bet Chicago with Soderblom and net. And look, Boston actually, they beat Carolina at home 5-1, scored 5. They beat New Jersey on the road 7-2, scored 7. Boston's showed a little, sign of life here in the last couple of games. So, like I said, I lean Chicago. I'm not betting it. I'm just going to stick to goals here. And I like where Aaron's thinking. How do you not take Pasta over 1.5 points or even over 2.5 points? Sprinkle on that. He has been in on, the majority of Boston's goals lately. Like almost every single recent Boston goal has been Pasta in on it. So, like I said, I think definitely Pasta props. Wouldn't talk anyone out of it. That's for sure. Mikey, what do you think here? Chicago, Boston.
Yeah, Pasta is pretty much carrying this team. I don't know how anyone can lay a price with Boston. Which Boston offense is going to show up? Which one are we going to get? Are we going to get the one that couldn't score more than 1 or 2 goals during that 10-game skid, or the one against New Jersey where 7 different players found the back of the net? I'm not laying 185 to find out.
Yeah.
Chicago hasn't won a road game since March 1st, and they're 5-14 since that span. So it wouldn't shock me at all whatsoever if Chicago wins this game. I'm focusing on Ryan Donato. He's one goal away from a 30-30 season. Former team from Boston. You can get him to register a point at minus 110. I look at him to score a goal. Now, he hasn't, I don't believe he's ever scored against Boston in 9 games played, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm looking at Ryan Donato every which way tonight. So that's all I got for me on this one.
Sorry, phone was ringing. We had to get to that. Yeah, I mean, as far as Ryan Donato is a great look, I think, from a prop standpoint. I agree with that. I think definitely the fact that he's, former member of this organization as well. Morgan Geekie, too. Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak are keeping the Bruins offense going right now. Although I was happy to see Fraser Minton get his first goal with the Boston Bruins. He was I think, one of the key pieces that Boston was interested when they traded Brandon Carlo to the Toronto Maple Leafs, that they got Fraser Minton's going to be a good two-way forward in this league. He's good at both ends of the ice. He's not going to be a big offensive player, but he's going to be someone that's going to be reliable defensively and chip in as far as offense is concerned every now and then. So definitely it makes sense to me to look toward, or in the future, to look toward, obviously, what Fraser Minton's capable of doing here for the Boston Bruins. For Chicago, if you look at them lately, you look at point streaks, 8-game point streak for Geekie, which is pretty damn impressive. Pasternak's been just insane what he's been doing. He's actually gone over 1.5 points in 3 straight games. And like I say, I think you could even sprinkle on that 2.5 points, which you can get in the bargain bin price range. So, those are definitely some good looks. Maybe a good prop game. We do kind of project goals to be scored in this game. So Bertuzzi, Mikheyev, Donato, Nazar, probably some good options there on the Chicago side as well. All right, Carolina and Washington. So this was even money. This is basically a 60-cent move to Carolina because they're minus 150, minus 160 road favorites right now. 6 the total in this game. I think that's insane. I do. But I'm not doing cartwheels to bet Washington either. So that's where I'm at. It's I want to see how this game plays out. Keep in mind, Carolina has just lost 2 in a row on this road trip to Buffalo and Boston. It's not like we're seeing sense of urgency for Rod Brind'Amour in the squad right now. And obviously we know Washington has been locked in for a long time now to their position. We know they're going to play New Jersey. It's the first playoff matchup confirmed in the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first round. They're obviously coming off the Ovechkin record-breaking goal game against the New York Islanders. They had obviously a lot of celebrating during that. They had the big party for Ovi. That was Sunday night, though. If this game was Tuesday, I'd be more concerned for Washington. But it's Thursday. They've had 4 days. Get the hangovers out of the system. Hit the reset. And Spencer Carberry is saying we've got to somehow try to start to get back and ramp it up a little bit. Can't just keep losing and playing, lethargic hockey going into the playoffs. So, like I said, I think Carolina kind of would want to start, bring a better game too after back-to-back losses to the Sabres and the Bruins on this road trip. But I think at some point Washington's going to want to say, you know what, we can't just have this malaise going into the playoffs. We've got to step up a little bit. And certainly at this price, it is Washington or pass for me. I like this is another over for me. It's an over-heavy card. Over 5.5, I'm taking it. 6 goals or more in all but one of the last 6 meetings between the Canes and the Capitals, believe it or not. It's actually been a higher scoring series, and you have to factor into your handicap. This could be a penalty parade waiting to happen tonight. It was rough. It was nasty. It was bad feelings, vitriol like crazy in the game in Carolina between these teams last week. We saw what happened with Connor McMichael and Jalen Chatfield, when he almost hit his head on the ice. McMichael, when he got swung around there by Chatfield during that scrap. Retribution could be in the offing. I think it's going to be a chippy game. The animosity got ramped up by everything that happened in the third period of that game between the Caps and the Canes in Raleigh. So it could be a lot of penalties, a lot of power plays, and that's certainly good if you're going to bet an over in a game is the more opportunities you're going to see with the man advantage. So over 5.5 is at -125 at DraftKings. I did not take the first period over here, just the full game over here at 5.5. And there are a few props I like. Jonathan's already mentioned one of the ones I noticed as well. It's great value because he's moving up to the top line. That's Taylor Radish. It's a great prop, +500. It's a great price, too, considering where he's moving up. So that's worth a look. But I like over here. At this price, I'd take Washington. But like I said this in our group chat. You'd have to pay me to bet one of these sides because I don't know who I trust or who I trust more or who I trust least going into this game. So just the over for me pregame. What do you think here, Mikey? Carolina, Washington.
Yeah, back in 22 and 23, you couldn't pay these teams to play over the total, but lately, 5 out of the last 6, like you said, it's just been over City. It's an interesting game to dissect. Carolina just beat Washington 5-2 last week, the Chatfield incident, like you said. But since that Carolina win against Washington, they went on a 3-game skid and they got outscored 13-4 by Buffalo, Boston, and Detroit. I do think Carolina is going to be refocused for this one. They're off a shutout loss, 3-game skid, division opponent. Even with nothing to play for standing-wise, I think they'll still be motivated to put a better product out on the ice. But they also know Wilson is going to be swimming like a shark around that rink, banging bodies and being a thorn in Carolina's ass. Just enough, but nothing crazy enough to warrant a suspension. So I'm expecting that out of Wilson. This one's tough. Caps off 3 days of rest. They have really nothing to play for. Like you said, if this was a Monday or a Tuesday game after Ovi got the record, no one's touching Washington. But I don't know about this one. I don't have anything locked in, but keep in mind Washington has been good this season on home ice against the division. 8-3. Carolina is a very mediocre 5-4. So nothing locked in on this one. Probably take a shot with the live over if given the opportunity.
It is worth noting, too, this is another game where Carolina's taken just a shit ton of money. It's insane, like 60 cents. This is a similar-sized move to what happened with Carolina in Buffalo. Carolina was like -180 when that line opened. It closed like -240 at Buffalo the other night. And all that money goes to rip to shreds because Buffalo wins 3-0. Like, so it's that to me, and that line, this I could get a little bit because Washington's been kind of out of it lately with their level of play. But that Buffalo move toward Carolina in that Buffalo game was insane to me. Like, Carolina is locked in to their spot. Buffalo's playing great, especially at home. Who the hell was betting them at -200? Like, I'd love to know. I would love to know who thought that was one hell of a fucking bet the other night. Carolina -200 against Buffalo. And then they get a big shit in their pants instead with that game. So, like I said, I'd love to know because that's completely absurd. That's why the market movements don't concern me as much as they do other people. They concern me if I'm not going to get a good number or a good price. That's when I get concerned. Like, shit, I got this price and now you can get 20, 30 cents more. But I never react to a line move. That's how I react to a line move. Where it's like, shit, I got a bad price, bad number. But I never react to a line move and panic like, oh my God, this line's moving against me. I must have the wrong side here. I'm losing now for sure. The number's going against me. No, that's never how I think. Because I think some of these line moves are the dumbest moves you'll ever see. And that Carolina-Buffalo game was a perfect example of that. So, yes, the line moves concern me just based on, I don't have a good price or good number compared to what I could have gotten. But it never concerns me compared to, oh my gosh, the line's going against me. I must have a losing bet now in my pocket. Never. Because I never think that way with a line move going against me. I'm confident. I believe in the handicap. I believe in the process. And that's important. Important to mention that. No question. All right, as far as props go, in this game, because again, this could be a good power play points game because there could be some penalties, could get chippy, and so I will mention as far as power play points, Ovechkin and Strome for the Capitals, 5 straight games with a power play point. That's significant. Points overall, Ovechkin and Strome 5 straight. As far as goals going into this game, we mentioned Radish. That's a great value on him, moving up to Ovechkin and Strome on the top line tonight, Taylor Radish. Wilson, PLD, and McMichael, second line. We'll see if they can continue to if they can contribute a little bit. If you look on the Carolina side of the equation, they have not been scoring, obviously. 1 goal against Boston and Buffalo combined, but I do like Jackson Blake with Aho and Jarvis, still looking in that direction. Hall was very good before the last couple games when the whole team went quiet. And maybe Mark Jankowski, just for old time's sake, because we know he's been one of the brighter offensive lights here for the Hurricanes since they got him at the deadline. All right, Battle of New York. There's been a Battle of New York's where I've been very excited. I can't say the same about this one. The New York Rangers and the New York Islanders. Islanders minus 125 home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. So the Rangers, there will not be another Rangers bet for me the rest of the season. Not a chance. No chance in hell. But the Islanders are coming off their dream crusher, soul crusher, season ender, in my opinion, even though they're mathematically still alive. You can't blow a 6-4 lead to the Nashville Predators and lose in overtime and expect to make the playoffs, especially when you're down by this many points deficit-wise. So I think that killed them that game. That New York Islanders lost to Nashville. So I can't say I'm running to take the Islanders here in this game. But if I had to, I'd take them. There's no question about that. It would be Islanders or pass. I think this is a game where actually what I might do here is Islanders team total over, both team totals over, along with over 5.5 for the game. I really think both teams might. This could be kind of an 8-5, not 8-5 like last night, Flyers, Rangers, but I could see 5-4, something like that. I don't trust either team to bring it on the defensive end. Marcus Hogberg's been confirmed in net for the Islanders. I don't trust that guy as far as goaltending is concerned. It is probably going to be on the back-to-back because they gave Quick the start last night. So it is going to be Igor Shesterkin tonight. But again, he's got this horrific blue line that's not competing hard enough, that's soft as fuck. They can't clear the puck out of their own zone. That's not helping out their goalie. That's hanging the goalie out to dry on a nightly basis. So even with Shesterkin and net, Islanders should score. I don't fully trust the Islander defense or Hogberg, so the Rangers should score. So I for me, it's Islanders or pass. I think stick to the total. That's the best approach in this game. Over 5.5, and I wouldn't talk anyone out of maybe taking either. Both teams over their team total here in this game. Both teams to score in the first period, I think, could happen as well. I know John Massey likes both teams to score first period, Washington, Carolina. Like I said, that's definitely something you could see as well. What do you think here, Mikey? Rangers, Islanders?
Yeah, take a quarter, flip it. If it lands on heads, bet the Rangers. If it lands on tails, bet the Islanders. I mean, I am actually on the Islanders tonight. I was more confident. I should have waited for goalie confirmations. I usually do. Now I see Hogberg in net. I'm not as interested, but I locked in the Isles because all 3 games this season, the Rangers crushed the Islanders by a combined score of 14-3. They've had their number head-to-head wise, 7 out of the last 10. The thing is, Islanders, believe it or not, they've actually been very good on home ice this season against the division. 7-2-2. They almost always get up for these games. So at $1.18, I took a shot with the money line with the Islanders, and I'm with you on the over. I'm still debating. I'm probably going to just take a shot with the over 6 at even money, but I do like the Islanders tonight at minus 118. I think they get it done. I don't care if the Rangers are up 2-0 in the first period. They're going to end up collapsing like they always do. So it's going to be the Isles for me tonight.
Yeah, I get it. Islanders are past. I will not have another Ranger bet the rest of the season. I just don't. And the key thing to always remember is just because you want to fade the Rangers badly, and I do, doesn't mean you have to bet the Islanders either tonight. And that's the thing. And plus, I always think, too, because they just got smoked last night, and they have played the Islanders very well this year, maybe the Rangers get the lead. If we get plus money on the Islanders, and we know no lead is safe in a Ranger game, especially when the Rangers have the lead. Look at last night. They got the first goal against Philadelphia last night. What good did it do to them? Nothing. They ended up losing that game anyway. So this definitely – Islanders could be a live target if they fall behind. But like I said, this is the one team the Rangers are playing tonight where I can't say I'm very excited to bet the New York Islanders here either. But, yeah, like I said, I like the team total over for both teams, and I like the full game over as well. And then for props in this game, like I said – it's difficult because, these two teams have had so many people up and down. Yeah, Matt Robinson special, limited benefits. I don't mind that. Plus 130. It's a good, solid price on that. Not bad at all to consider that here in this game. But, yeah, I mean, when you look at this game, Cooley and Lafreniere were the two guys we've talked about all year for the Rangers that at least at times you've seen some good things from them. As I'd look maybe in their direction as far as props go. Zibanejad's just cold as ice right now, and he's not willing to sacrifice, like Foreigner said. So keep that in mind. He's not been good, obviously, and not had a good season for them. For the Islanders, Paul Mary, has certainly been, and Holmstrom's starting to pick it up again. So maybe go to Simon Holmstrom here for the New York Islanders tonight in this one. All right, this is your battle for first place in the Central Division, and it is still a battle. I mean, Dallas really hurt themselves in their chance to win the Central with that epic collapse against Vancouver the other night. The first team in NHL history to be leading by 3 goals with 1 minute left and go on to lose the game. But here they are against the Winnipeg Jets tonight. We've got Dallas minus 125 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. That was a meltdown of epic proportions from the Dallas Stars the other night. There's no question. I'm still stunned it happened. I mean, you're talking about 5-2 on home ice against a team that's already pretty much out of it in the Vancouver Canucks, and you give up 3 goals in the last minute. You end up tied, and then you lose in overtime. Just remarkable how bad it was for the Dallas Stars. No question about that. That being said, there's a spot where there's supposed to be a response when you have an all-time loss like that, and you hear the captain, Jamie Benn, after the game say the word unacceptable, talking about that loss to Vancouver. You're supposed to see a response from a team that is expected to be a Stanley Cup contender, and Dallas is supposed to be that. So I'm going to take Dallas in this spot, especially with the price being what it is, minus 125. Winnipeg has had one of these runs lately where it's win 1, lose 1. Good game, show up, then they're a down spot right after that. Maybe they aren't tonight because this is the team that is chasing them for first, but they beat Vancouver, they lose in LA. They beat Vegas, they lose in Utah. And then they come back home, they beat St. Louis, and they've been a little up and down lately, this Winnipeg team. And I think they're catching Dallas with their smoke in their nostrils tonight, this Stars team, after what happened to them against Vancouver. I'll take a shot with them tonight, minus 125. And don't think you're seeing things or hearing things when you hear this. I'm on an under here. Yes, under 5.5, minus 110. It's 100% true. I'm on it. I think this is a good under. What is Dallas going to do after that Vancouver game? They got to tighten it up. That's just horrific. You give up 3 goals in the final minute. Defense has to be the focal point for Dallas. Jake Ottinger in net. Jake's played better lately. I think it's one of these deals where Dallas is going to be thinking first and foremost, can't give up 6 goals, can't give up 3 in the last minute and expect to win games. And then we've got series history that has been absolutely dominant to the under. 7 straight unders head-to-head between the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars entering tonight. So, we're trying to broaden our horizons. My ROI with unders is horrendous in all sports in my career. That's why I don't bet many. But this definitely is an under if I've ever seen one. 7 straight head-to-head unders. Dallas is going to want to tighten it up after what happened against Vancouver. Winnipeg has played a lot of unders lately themselves. Not just the 7 straight unders head-to-head. Winnipeg's been in 7 straight unders overall. Winnipeg, 7 straight unders in their last 7 games coming into tonight. So, yeah, under 5.5 for yours truly. And you're not hearing things. Mikey, what do you think here in this one? Big battle in the Central, Winnipeg, Dallas.
Yeah, don't feel bad, Ian. I had under 6.5 in Anaheim yesterday. It was 1-0 with 10 minutes left.
Yeah, and I had the Anaheim team total under. So there you go. I talked about the ROI on unders, and somehow we lose that. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be 1-0 with 10 minutes left in the game and it ends 4-3. I mean, I'm not touching that under again.
Yeah, no goals after the first 2 periods, Anaheim.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden 3 in the third. Yep.
It's just insane when I try and touch an under in hockey. The craziest things happen. Anyways, kind of a big game for both clubs tonight. Like you said, hate to be repetitive, but Dallas off a bad loss. Winnipeg alternating wins and losses since the month of April began. You'd think draw, but can Dallas really afford to draw if they want to catch Winnipeg? I don't think they can.
Yeah, I'm not on the draw here for that reason. Yep.
Exactly. Jets have allowed a goal in the first period in 7 out of their last 10 games. So I think first period Dallas team total over 1 at plus 175 is worth a look. They'll be motivated to play today. They'll be motivated to play this game, I think, even with the playoffs coming up. Just after last game, the first thing you want to do is get that bad taste out of your mouth. It's a division opponent, a team you're chasing in the standings. I think the first 20 minutes are going to be of utmost importance for Dallas tonight. Also, Dallas is, I mean, they've been awesome on home ice this season against the division, 9-1-1. They are always up for these games. So I love Dallas first period team total over 1 at plus 175. And I'm on Dallas money line minus 125.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I think this could be even a first period under too, but like I said, first period, I don't love it as much because a couple of these Winnipeg Dallas games, if you actually look at the head-to-head series, a couple of these that have stayed under in the full game have actually had 2 goals in the first period. So don't panic if there's 2 goals in the first period and you're on the full game under, because each of the last 2 meetings, believe it or not, it cashed the first period over, but the full game stayed under with the Jets and the Stars. So that is something to keep in mind. In fact, if you do get the 2 goals early in the game between the Jets and the Stars here, it might be worth your while to bet a live under, because that's been the pattern here with the Jets and the Stars, where you get the goals early and then it slows right down after that. You know what's great? I'm looking back now, continuing to look back at the head-to-head. We have seen 3 straight meetings and they were all this year, November, December, and March. They all stayed under for the full game, but they actually all did go over in the first period. So all the more reason maybe look at a live under here in this game if it has the 2 goals in the opening period. As far as props, this is probably a good Jamie Benn night. Jamie Benn's the one that came out and said unacceptable the other night against the after the loss to Vancouver, and it was, to lose that game. It is unacceptable to lose a game like that if you're Dallas. So this could be a Jamie Benn gets on the board here tonight for them as far as a goal in this game. Worth noting, of course, Wyatt Johnston has been in better form, of course, lately for this Stars team. 7 straight points, games with a point, by the way, for Matt Duchene. I think you got to keep rolling with him. He's been terrific. 3-game point streak for Mark Scheifele for Winnipeg. 3-game point streak for Thomas Harley for Dallas. Multi-game point streaks of 2 for Rantanen, Robertson, and Marchment for Dallas as well going into this game. So players like that might be worth a look here too for the Dallas Stars. And I keep saying it, Perfetti and Iafallo, the top 2 right wingers. Iafallo on the top line, right wing side, and Cole Perfetti on the second line, right wing side. I think the value is definitely with them as far as goal props on the Jets here tonight. All right, Vancouver, Colorado. We've got Colorado minus 210 to minus 220. Home favorites, 5.5 the total. We saw, Vancouver resilience come back, played hard against Dallas, came back from 5-2 down to win in overtime. Does that inspire them to play great and hard again tonight, or is there a little bit of a coming down to earth or emotional hangover after a thrilling, historic comeback like that against Dallas? That you have to ask yourself. What I do know is I don't want Colorado. I know I got away with the money line cash the other night against Vegas. I didn't love the way they played. I didn't love their game, quite honestly. Other than the second period, I thought they were mediocre in the first period, and I thought they were mediocre in the third period. And in fact, Vegas had chances, I think, to really put them away in that game. And they're a team that can't move up, can't move down. They know they're third in the Central, likely to play Dallas at the moment in the first round. Blackwood in net. It looks like in this game as well tonight, Nathan McKinnon's been ruled out. That's the big news. Already without Drouin. He's not back. He's still out. So that's concerning. I think Natchez is back, though. They do have Marty Natchez back. So Marty Natchez will play tonight. Drouin still out. Ross Colton still out. Nathan McKinnon, the big one, out. Josh Manson still out. Meanwhile, for Vancouver, Thatcher Demko projected in net. Not many lineup changes. Tyler Myers still out. Of course, the useless guy. Elias Pettersson still out. Philip Hedel still out for Vancouver as well. I could only take Vancouver, but I'm not running to bet Vancouver here. It would be a lean to the dog, though, Vancouver. I like the draw. The one thing I did bet here is the draw. because we do have some draw indicators with these two teams. Vancouver's been trending heavily to the draw. 4 of their last 10 games have gone past regulation. 3 of the last 5 Colorado games have gone past regulation time as well. So both of these teams have had their share of games going past regulation. I don't know if either team's going to be inspired enough to win in regulation. That's kind of how I see it too. So I will take a shot with the draw here, Vancouver and Colorado. Mikey, what do you think here? Canucks, Avs.
Yeah, Bednar says McKinnon's dealing with something minor, so he's not going to play for the rest of the regular season, and that's all you need to know about the Colorado Avalanche. Can't move whatsoever in the standings-wise. They asked him about incorporating Landeskog. He says when he's ready to play, he'll play. I mean, yeah, Natchez is back. So is Girard on the blue line. That's, in my opinion, Girard. He's a pretty good puck-moving defenseman, so that's going to be a positive for them. But I'm on Vancouver. Before the McKinnon news, you could have gotten them at plus 180. Now they're around plus 160, plus 165. But that's once I saw McKinnon's done for the regular season, and they have nothing to play for. I mean, the motivation level is going to be slim to none, in my opinion. So Vancouver plus 165 for me.
By the way, there is a chance we're not going all night on the Betcast tonight. Pretty good chance, in fact. We usually do. But I do have an early appointment tomorrow, and I'll be honest, the thought of Seattle, Vegas, Anaheim, LA for the late games, we might call it a little earlier tonight, the Betcast, as it will probably head out after the Colorado game ends. That's at the moment. Things could always change, but that's the temporary setup here tonight for the bet. We'll certainly be on for all the early games. That's where a lot of the more meaningful stuff is going on, especially the Winnipeg Dallas game, which is obviously huge for the division implications there. But I don't know if we'll be on at 1 a.m. Eastern breaking down Seattle, Vegas at the right end of the night. I just don't know if that's going to happen here tonight. All right, let's move on now. We've got Nashville and Utah. We've got Utah minus one. Insulting, yeah. Hey, it is what it is. We got to, it's well, not saying for sure it's going to be that, Jonathan, but we'll see as the night goes on. We'll take the temperature of the evening and see how it goes. Nashville and Utah. We've got Utah minus 190, home favorites. The total here at 6, pretty much across the board here in this game. Again, this is one where, look, Utah was in the great spot. I didn't mind taking Utah as a big favorite and taking the puck line and the team total the other night against Seattle, because Seattle's all-time horrific on back-to-backs. We talked about that. This is different, though. Nashville, look, they played spoiler against the New York Islanders. Are they going to want to end the season strong? And they battled Montreal pretty tough, I guess you could say. Now, they are on the road where they've been absolutely horrific. 9-30 on the road this year for the Nashville Predators. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But you look at, obviously, tonight with this game, Saros and Vejmelka. We're not even shocked anymore. It's Vejmelka. You just knew it right away. UC Saros will get the start here for Nashville in this game. He is off a start where he gave up 2 goals to Montreal. Only faced 17 shots, though. He also got shelled for 7 the last time we saw him against the Columbus Blue Jackets before that. So hasn't been a great year for Saros. 2.97 goals against, 894 save percentage. Not living up to his moniker in that Mass Mutual commercial of no goals, no goals. Yeah, lots of goals, lots of goals. That's what he's been giving up this year for Nashville, UC Saros. This is another over for me. 5.5 minus 135. 2 teams not making the playoffs. Think you probably have a chance to see. Now, it's always dicey with Nashville because before that 7-goal outburst against the Islanders, they had scored 1 in 4 of the 5. But I think they'll chip in here. And Utah has scored, looks like 7, 11, 16 goals in their last 4 games, 21 goals in their last 5 games. So it's definitely the offense has heated up a little bit here for this Utah hockey club in recent games. So, yeah, over 5.5 here, minus 125, I think is the price. No, minus 135 at DraftKings with that over 5.5 here. That's the only bet pregame for me. Mikey, what do you think here? Predators and Utah.
Yeah, it's been almost a month since the Preds won 2 in a row. They're off a win, so you already know the story that's written tonight. there's no, even without them making the playoffs, Utah is going to battle to the very end. That's how the head coach's mindset is. It's a new organization, new everything. So they're going to play their hearts out till the very end. But the only way I can back this is if Nashville scores first. I hope they do. Grab Utah live. Other than that, I've got nothing on this one.
Yeah, no doubt. As far as this game, as far as props go, there are, like I don't think we're going to see a tight defensive environment in this game. That's for sure. Although, in saying that, like I said, we've seen instances where it sets up with a game that should have some offense to it, and Nashville still can't score. So sometimes you still have to be careful. That being said, I do think both teams can chip in. If you look at Nashville and their lineup configuration for the game tonight, it looks like it's going to be. There's a couple that stand out as far. Remember, they got Marchessault back. Not that it matters. He hasn't had a great season, obviously, for the Predators, but he is back. Zachary Leroux's on the top line. Now, whether he scores is another story, but he is with Stamkos and Forsberg. Evangelistas with O'Reilly and Bunting. We've talked about Bunting, too, how he's kind of started to heat up a bit. Michael McCarron had his goal wiped off against Montreal, but he did score against the Islanders. Maybe he gets back to the well. The one I like Gunther, Cooley, Keller, they're all threats. Krause can chip in. Josh Doan can chip in. Hayton. The guy I'm going to for Utah, the one that I like the most, is the former Oiler, Kyler Yamamoto, here for the Utah Hockey Club. It's a guy that's playing on the second line. He scored 2 goals now in the last 5 games for Utah. He got one of their goals the other night against Seattle. So I think Kyler Yamamoto does have worth a look, and certainly getting a solid price too with him to find the back of the net here tonight for the Utah Hockey Club. When he, like I said, he was able to score the other night against Seattle. And I do want to just point out, the price on that, because it was pretty good. It is. It's plus 460 with Kyler Yamamoto. All right, I just saw it now, the name in the chat. We have to shout him out. He has been one of our longtime viewers and listeners, and in the chat when he's around, when he's available to watch the show live, he's always in our YouTube chat. He's been away serving his country, and it looks like he is back. The Cuban Wayne Gretzky. There you have it. He is back. So when I saw that name in the chat, I'm like, holy shit, he is back from his mission and the work he was doing with the Navy, in the Navy. I think the Navy is where he was. But, yeah, we missed you, too. It's good to see you back, and it's good to see you back in obviously in good health, obviously, and back with us here on the show. So salute.
Welcome home, buddy.
Cuban Wayne Gretzky, welcome home. Absolutely. Good to see Cuban Wayne Gretzky back in the chat. Yeah, I'm sure you've got a lot of catching up to do. You're right, because you probably haven't been able to keep on top of everything NHL related here these last few weeks and couple of months. But good to see you back, my friend, and welcome back to the Cuban Wayne Gretzky in our YouTube chat. All right, Seattle taking on Vegas. We've got Vegas now. It looks like a minus 280 home favorites in this game. Total 6 across the board. Now, Seattle's off an all-time ass-kicking in a spot where they have been horrific all year on the back-to-back, and they ran into it again against Utah. Is there any pride for this team is what you have to ask yourself, because you got to think after a loss like that, you got to show up a little bit. I like Seattle to score a goal in the first period. That's the bet I made here. Seattle to score a goal in the first period. Come on, you're supposed to show up. I don't know about defensively what they're going to do, and you have to remember Vegas is coming back home off the road trip. But the last 2 home games, they laid eggs. They were duds. They were clunkers. Both of those home games against Winnipeg and Edmonton for Vegas, they lost both of them. This is their first home game since then. So you got to expect they're going to want to play a little bit better. But after 7-1 against Utah, I think Seattle early at least is going to show something, just to show some pride, show some dignity after what happened the other night. If you actually look at the series against Vegas, Vegas did beat them 6-2 in the most recent meeting in December here at T-Mobile Arena, but Seattle did score a goal in the opening period. They did get on the board in that opening period. So I think that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Yes, the big news is Tomas Hertl's back for Vegas. He will return to the lineup. Looks like everyone else is potentially out again. I think Eichel might miss again for the Vegas Golden Knights. Of course, he did not play against. Eichel's out. He will not play tonight. That's what I figured. And Pietrangelo, I think, is still going to be out as well on the blue line for the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know if I trust Seattle to win the game. I do think that after getting, just destroyed 7-1, they show some effort here and it's strong. And remember, they did beat LA 2-1. So don't rule out that maybe they can beat Vegas here. Vegas is going to win the division. They're going to win the Pacific. They're just too far ahead. It's just a question of when, not if. So it's not like Vegas is going to go balls to the wall saying, we got to win the Pacific Division. Calm down, Vegas. You're going to win it. It's just a question of when, not if, you clinch the division. I think Seattle could hang around in this game, make it interesting at least. I don't know about pull off the upset. I think they might be knocking on the door of it. I don't know if I'm ready to take them plus 230, though, but I do like them to score in the first period. I think that's the best approach. You can get minus 115, minus 120, minus 125 in that range with the Seattle Kraken goal in the first period. I think that's the best bet in this game. What do you think here, Mikey? Seattle, Vegas.
Yeah, I'm with you. Once I saw Vegas has absolutely nothing to play for, Eichel's resting. I'm a little shocked that Bruce isn't resting at least a couple more players. They absolutely have no reason, no motivation in this one. Coming off a West Coast road trip, although it was only 3 games. I'm with you. First period Seattle goal, and I'm on first period Seattle money line plus 196. I think that's worth a shot.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's a good price on that. As always, with some of these teams, when I take them first period, they're weaker teams. Obviously, I don't always trust them defensively. That's why I take the just score a goal in the first period. But I don't fault you. It's a good price. With Seattle. And again, you've talked about Seattle coming off the 7-1 game. You got to hope at least, that in that dressing room, you're thinking, let's go out there and have a better game tonight. That was pretty awful the other night. We know we suck in back-to-backs, but still, that was pretty awful right now for Seattle. So, like I said, Mikey liking the first period money line with Seattle, and I'm going a little more cautious and just taking Seattle to score in the first period at around minus 120. Joey DeCord's projected in net for Seattle, Aiden Hill for Vegas. Neither one confirmed, though, as of yet. And as far as the props go for this Kraken and Golden Knights game, 2 straight games with a point for William Karlsson's heating up. He's probably someone to keep an eye on. He can be streaky, but he's starting to heat up. Hurdle had 2 games straight with a goal before he got injured. McCann, like I said, William Karlsson. It could be worth looks here as far as the lineup. I'm just looking to see what Vegas is going with here. Bart Howden still has value on the top line. Dorofeyev, we talk about, been one of their better goal scorers this season and of late. The one I like on Seattle is Chandler Stevenson. That's definitely one that I like. That's one that certainly appeals to me. Chandler Stevenson back in Vegas, his former team, where obviously he's been for the last few years, won a cup there in Vegas a couple of years ago. He's actually scored 2 goals in the last 4 games as well, and points in 3 of the last 4 games for Seattle. So Chandler Stevenson with the Seattle Kraken back in Vegas facing his old team, and also in better offensive form, Chandler Stevenson of late as well. So you can get upwards of plus 580 for him to score. So really good price there. All right, final game of this Thursday NHL card. Boy, these late season cards, I'll tell you what, they are fascinating to handicap. They really are. That I will say. We've got the Anaheim Ducks and the Los Angeles Kings. LA minus 350 home favorites. The total here at 5.5 shaded to the over in this game. LA coming off we talked about Seattle scoring 2 goals in the first period, by the way, of that win against LA, and the Kings on the losing end of that game to the Kraken. They'll be looking to bounce back now here tonight. And now with Edmonton beating St. Louis last night, suddenly some more pressure and urgency potentially for the LA Kings here tonight, knowing that they still have not locked up home ice advantage and second in the Pacific Division. So, and that's significant. When you have the kind of home record LA has this year, you want home ice. You want to have that home ice advantage against the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. So definitely, I'd expect a little bit of a ramped up sense of urgency from the Kings now after losing to the Seattle Kraken. Edmonton collecting the 2 points to move closer to them last night. Doughty and Edmondson still out for the Kings. On the Anaheim side, they're coming in off the high of a thrilling comeback overtime win against Calgary. Really a shocking comeback overtime win against Calgary in that game last night. And now they're on a back-to-back, a little bit of a tough spot. I'm going to go to the well one more time with the bet that did not cash, obviously, against Seattle because they gave up 2 goals in the first period. But prior to that, in all but one game, the LA Kings had not conceded a first period goal. And I think now the concern is Doughty and Edmondson, 2 very important defensemen, are out. But I do think here in this spot, we could see LA put up a goose egg in the first period and get back to that here. So I'm going to take a shot here one more time. And if it doesn't win tonight, we're done with this bet for the time being. But I'm going to take it tonight, a small. It's the only bet I made on this game pregame. We can always look, reevaluate and re-examine things on the betcast tonight. Anaheim, first period, team total under 0.5 at around -112, -115 in that range. That's kind of what I'm looking at here. Anaheim to get shut out in the first period, something the LA Kings have been very good at of late. So no goal in the first period for Anaheim is the bet that appeals to me the most here in this one. And yes, big time under series. That is correct, Doug. No question. Lots of unders here head to head. 7-3 and 6 straight overall have stayed under between these teams. So I would lean that way as well. I put it this way. I'd rather have Anaheim under in the first period, their team total. If you want to take their full game team total, under 2.5, you got to lay -180. That's pretty much the price with the Anaheim full game team total, -180. I do not want to lay that kind of a price. Plus, we know LA's been good, keeping a clean sheet in the first period. So that's the bet for me. Ducks no goal first period, -110, -115, in and around that price range. Mikey, final game. What do you think here? Anaheim, Los Angeles.
Yeah, the Ducks are 3-7 this year in back-to-backs, and after a win on a back-to-back, they're 1-4. So, and they're in LA tonight. It'll be a very, very tough game for the Ducks. When the Ducks beat LA, it doesn't happen often, and when it does, they barely squeak by, whether it's a 3-1 or 2-1 overtime win. More often than not, the Kings are taking care of business here. It is a better Anaheim team than teams in the past, but I think LA gets it done. However, they're just so expensive. First period, they're expensive, even on the puck line. The only thing that makes sense besides the way you're looking at, Ian, if you want to touch LA, it's for them to win the first period, and it's for them to win the game. Same game parlay, that pays +105. I haven't locked it in, but if you're looking for somewhat of a reasonable price, I feel like that's one of a couple ways to do it.
I like it. Not a bad approach there. And not many props on this game because, I think it probably will be a bit of a cagey, lower scoring affair between these two teams. But it's hard not to ride Cutter Gauthier right now. Like, he's really heating up. He got the 2 goals last night for the Anaheim Ducks. So maybe you go in that direction. As far as the LA side of things, I've talked about how good, obviously, Byfield has been for them. Fogle, and Kuzmenko. I've talked about Kuzmenko as well. He's really clicked pretty nicely with Kopitar and Kempe. So those are a couple of the props I might consider here in this one. No Doughty and Edmondson leaves a huge hole. It does, Jonathan, but, I agree. But this is here's another thing I looked into. I should have pointed this out, and I didn't. You know that Anaheim has scored, 4 straight head-to-head meetings, Ducks versus Kings. Anaheim has not scored more than 2 goals in any of them. They scored 1, 1, 1, and 2 in the last 4 head-to-head meetings against the LA Kings. And if you look at the first period of those last 4 head-to-head meetings, Anaheim's been shut out in all 4 of the last 4 head-to-head meetings, Ducks versus Kings. Anaheim hasn't scored in the first period of any of them. February 8th this season, they didn't score in the first period. November 29th, early in the season, they didn't score in the first period. October 20th, Anaheim didn't score in the first period. And then going back to last year, April, they didn't score in the first period. So the Kings have shut out the Ducks in the first period in 4 straight head-to-head meetings. So that's another reason I gravitated to that. I get the concern with Doughty and Edmondson, but I think they're still capable of shutting them out here tonight. Well, let's more of Are. Let's see if these guys can dispense. I don't mind. They got Mikey Anderson still in, right? They do. They got Anaheim on a back-to-back. I'm still taking they got Gavrikov, Spence, Anderson, Clark, Jacob Moverare, and Kyle Burrows tonight on the blue line. So yeah, I know it's a little weaker. It's not the full strength blue line. It is a little more concerning, but I'm going to take a shot here tonight with it still. No goal in the first period for Anaheim. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. We got the Betcast tonight. We cannot wait, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us. Make sure you sign up. Patreon.com/IceGuys to be part of our final regular season Patreon exclusive Ice Guys Live Betcast. We do have another Betcast next Tuesday, April 15th, but that one is open to the public and free for all. This is our last Patreon exclusive live Betcast for the regular season. So make sure you sign up, $10 per month, patreon.com/IceGuys. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, of course, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page, bonus content, and of course, the only place where you can find tonight's live Betcast with the link only posted on the Patreon page, which is why it's Patreon exclusive. So make sure you join us tonight for the live Betcast exclusive to Patreon, $10 per month to sign up. Get on board. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going long term. $10 per month, patreon.com/IceGuys. And again, check out the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch. You get all kinds of great gear, all kinds of great merch, including, of course, as you see right there, Draw Season t-shirt. Skinner! I've got that now ready, waiting in the wings. We're going to rock that maybe on one of the shows this weekend. Can't find with a telescope. We're going to start rocking some of these outfits on the show. Some of my clever sayings, so we're looking forward to that. Great merch, great gear, and you get a lot of offers all throughout the month of April for all our Ice Guys store merchandise. So make sure you check it out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Ian, I got to tell you about this app I've been using lately called Kalshi. Kalshi.com. Did you know it's the only place where you can trade on March Madness in all 50 U.S. states?
I have heard about this, actually. Kalshi is the first and only legal prediction market that lets you trade on real-world events with the look and feel of stock trading. Whether it's who will win elections, who will win the Grammy or Oscar awards, or what the price of Bitcoin will hit this year, you can bet you trade on just about anything on Kalshi.
With over 1 million users across all 50 states and over $1 billion worth of trades, Kalshi is an absolute game changer. And with March Madness coming to a close, baseball about to get in the full swing, playoffs on the horizon in hockey and basketball, now's the time to sign up to trade with Kalshi today.
Sign up at kalshi.com/iceguys, and the first 500 traders to join and trade 100 contracts, you will get a free $10 credit added to your account. So don't miss out on all the action. Join Kalshi today at kalshi.com/iceguys. That's kalshi.com/iceguys. Shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. And, of course, kalshi.com/iceguys. Great trading platform and more than just sports. You can trade on entertainment, crypto, politics, you name it. Check it out at kalshi.com/iceguys. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Big Thursday card to choose from. Mikey, we'll start with you. What do you like for bargain bin special?
Yeah, we'll head to Boston. I am on Ryan Donato, 2 or more points, plus 420. He has been pointless in the month of April. However, he's 1 goal away from a 30-30 season. Former team. He's from Boston. I'd be shocked if he doesn't get a point tonight. So I'm taking a shot with 2+ points at plus 420. We'll see if he gets it done tonight.
All right, there we go. Ryan Donato. Over 1.5 points for the Chicago Blackhawks back in Boston for Mikey with his bargain bin special of the night. I got 2 for you, and both of them are in the late night hours. We're going to go to Kyler Yamamoto for Utah, plus 460 at Bet Rivers. This guy has been heating up, second line, a good opportunity, and I think he might find the back of the net. We know Nashville and UC Saros can often be very giving at the defensive end. So Kyler Yamamoto, Utah, plus 460. And my other bargain bin special of the night, we're going to go to Seattle, Vegas. Chandler Stevenson in his return to Vegas. I think he gets on the board for Seattle, plus 580. It's one hell of a price. Chandler Stevenson, Seattle Kraken, plus 580 for my second bargain bin special of the night. So Yamamoto and Stevenson for my 2 bargain bin specials on this Thursday night. All right, best bets. Mikey, what do you like for best bet?
Dallas, first period team total over 1 at plus 175. I think they'll be up for this game after what occurred last game. I think the first 20 minutes of this game is of most importance, chasing Winnipeg in the standings. So I think the first period is going to be huge for Dallas. First period team total over 1 at plus 175.
All right, there you go. Dallas over 1 first period team total for the Stars for Mikey with his best bet. My best bet for this Thursday night NHL card. This is a tough one. There's a lot that rolling through what we're going to rock with here as far as best bets concerned. I'm going to go with that Sabres Jackets over 6.5. We'll go for full game over 6.5. I like it. Columbus been flying over at home. Buffalo's trended over on the road. When they match up, there's been more overs than unders historically with these teams. So let's roll with that. Buffalo, Columbus over 6.5 minus 110. For best bet for this Thursday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again, Betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you sign up. Patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. And make sure you're there for our Patreon exclusive live Betcast tonight. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Mikey, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. We'll see you in a few hours for the Patreon exclusive live Betcast. And then we will be back tomorrow on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern once again for another edition of the Ice Guys.